When you think about the US housing market, there's a lot going on. One thing that we have to talk about is Florida real estate. I don't know about you. I'm sitting here in California. I've been looking at real estate for 20 some odd years. I think the Florida housing market has to crash. It has had obviously positive migration. We've obviously come off low rates, but given just the sheer rise in home prices, you would think there has to be some give back a la Austin, Texas. But in order to have this conversation, I thought we should talk to somebody in the Florida housing market. And we've got Andy here. How you doing, Andy?
Hey, I'm excellent. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Well, Andy, do us a favor, give a little bit about who you are, what you do, and why you are the guy we should talk to about Florida real estate.
Yeah, so my name is Andy Coleman. I currently am with eXp Realty. So I started real estate about 3.5 years ago, and I rose to the top extremely fast. So right now, I'm the number 2 ranked agent out of 90,000 agents in eXp, which is pretty crazy considering the
Wow.
time I've been in real estate. So yeah, basically I started doing rentals on day one, right? When I became a realtor, I changed the whole entire game. All the realtors out there said, no, don't do rentals, focus on purchases, focus on sales. I also did sales as well, but I focused on the neglected renters and it paid off big time. So in my first 3 years, I've done about 500 rental deals total and about $1 million in net commission. Last year alone, I did $510,000 in commission and about 250 deals. This year, I changed everything. I started a team. My team, we did about 100K last month alone. So we're on track to
Wow.
crush it this year. So yeah, that's my whole story. And that's why I am qualified to talk about real estate in Florida.
Awesome, man. We're going to get into that big time in video number two, but I want to talk about the Florida housing market. You've been in it heart and heavy, growing quickly the last 3 years, focused on the landlords, which I think is genius. But dude, insurance, I've heard it. I mean, I have crazy insurance in California. I've been hearing about some crazy insurance in Florida. I'm hearing about, the locals can't afford it. They're starting to move out. Typically speaking, agents are always, go, go, go. They'll never go down. But maybe as an agent that focuses on landlords, maybe you have a different opinion. I think Florida housing has to have some give back. Will it crash? I don't know. But you've got to think there's some negative growth coming, I would think.
Yeah, right now. All right. So let me give you a little bit of background. So the past 3 years, when I got into real estate back in, we'll say like beginning of 2020, it was a buyer's market. It quickly switched over to a seller's market during the pandemic, heavy seller's market. I'm talking, we would have 30, 40, 50 offers per property, which was madness. Now, today, it's kind of a neutral market. It's not really a buyer's market. It's not really a seller's market. The inventory has slowly been going up, actually, which is kind of interesting because we went down very low. For rentals, we were down to 5,000 units. For house sales, we were down to like 15,000 units. And normally, we would have about 85,000 purchases, which is really high. So it dropped a
Wow.
lot. So oh yeah, the inventory went like almost to like zero basically. So a lot of people moved here. At one point, I believe we had 950 people moving here every single day. I think in total since the pandemic, we've had, I can't remember the numbers, don't quote me on this, but around like 1 million people have moved here just since the pandemic alone. So it drove these prices sky high. We've almost doubled in price. Like actually not doubled, but we've come close to doubling in price for purchases. And rentals, same thing. It's risen so much in the past 3 years.
Yeah.
It's actually starting to push people out of the state. And that can also be attributed to what you said before, the insurance. Governor DeSantis has new policies right now, and he's starting to raise he started to raise the insurance rates. And people are saying that they can't afford to pay their, mortgages, their insurance, taxes, everything combined. They can't afford to pay it anymore. And a lot has to do with the insurance rates and the rising house costs. So this cannot be sustained forever. And that's what we're seeing right now. The prices have been coming down for the past, I would say, 9 months or so. The peak of the market was June of 2022. That was the
Okay.
peak of the market. And ever since then, it's just been going down, 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 down. And now we're at a point where, hey, is it going to crash? Is it not going to crash? What's going to happen next?
There you go. Well, let's try to put some numbers on this. I don't know if you remember them, but I'm sure you'll be close. When you got into the market, what was kind of the median price of a home in Florida? It was like 280 grand, 300 grand. Where was Florida when you got into the market roughly?
Exactly. So I'm in South Florida. So I'm in like a bubble of my own right now. I'm in Boca Raton, and I do
Okay.
I don't know if you know Boca, very fancy, ritzy place, right? So I work around Palm Beach County, Broward County, Miami-Dade. Those are the big
Okay.
counties that I work with. I'm not like a regular realtor. I don't farm. I do a 50-mile radius from where I live. So
Okay.
the prices have been fluctuating in each county. Now Miami-Dade is typically the highest priced county. I can't remember exactly that county when I got into real estate. I know right now it's around $470,000 for
Okay.
the median price. When I got in, I remember Palm Beach was around the 320,000 mark.
Yeah.
Fact check me in the comments below, but I believe it was right around 300, 320-ish. And now today it's about like 460, I believe. So
Okay.
yeah, I mean, but it's going down because it was at, I believe, around 480,
Mm.
maybe like 9 months ago, let's say.
Yeah. So again, at some point, I mean, something I learned back when was this? Probably 2006. Fresno County, which is my chosen market, was the number one appreciating market 2 years in a row, which is
Wow.
hard to do, right? 2005 and
Yeah.
six, I believe. I think Florida, maybe it's Dade County, maybe it's one of those fancy places, could be doing it again, but you have to have a give back. You can't stretch affordability so much without it snapping back. And if you add in the externality of now higher rates and insurance, you're going to have people just go, I'm out. I'm going to go to Georgia or South Carolina or, somewhere cheaper.
Yes. Literally, I just had a client. I'd been exaggerating. They moved to Georgia. They were trying to buy a house with me, and they were like, I can't afford this anymore. They got quoted for insurance rates, for a mortgage. The interest rates are so high right now for mortgage rates alone. Add in the insurance and taxes and everything, which our taxes are kind of low to be honest, but they couldn't afford it. They moved to Georgia. That's what they did.
Yeah. And this starts as a trickle and then it becomes a trend and then it becomes like a tsunami. This is essentially
Yeah.
why Florida had the upside, right? Back in the pandemic starts, you get a trickle, then everybody gets it, you like it, and then pretty soon you're getting 950 people a day moving there. Now, it could go the other way. The other thing that's interesting, I don't know if this is true in Florida, but a lot of markets, a lot of agents and investors I speak with, there's essentially two markets. And I always draw a line at the median. Above the median, I'll just generically call it luxury, is really slow. And the farther you get away from luxury, the median, the slower it gets. But then below the median, there's very little inventory. I don't know what you're seeing today. What are you seeing?
Yeah, so I explained it a little bit before how our inventory dropped, for sales around to I was like 15,000 units at a given point from 85,000 units, which is, a catastrophic drop. Today, I believe we have close to 35,000 units, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to actually pull up my MLS, but around 35,000 units. So we're still like almost at the halfway mark of inventory where we used to be. So every single day it is going up and up and up. Like it hasn't stopped. It hasn't started going down since June. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's going to go back up to the previous high of 80,000, units in this South Florida area, but it looks like it's trending that way because everything you just said, because everybody is starting, well, not everybody, but people are starting to move out of Florida right now, which is insane because everybody from New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, which is where I'm from, everybody from the Northeast, came down here. And I think it was similar in California where everybody in California started to go to Texas. Am I right? Or Arizona?
Yeah. Austin, Phoenix. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so everybody from the Northeast started coming here to South Florida. Some people would go to like the Naples area, Orlando area, Jacksonville, but South Florida, that's the hot spot. That's where we have Miami, obviously South Beach, Fort Lauderdale. I mean, Palm Beach County, Delray Beach, Boca Raton. I mean, you name it, everybody wanted to come here because there were so many opportunities. But here's the thing, the jobs, it didn't catch up with the cost of living. So the
Right.
income, the pay that people were coming down here, were getting, it was lower than what they were used to. My cousin actually came down here as a teacher. She was making something like 90 grand as a teacher up in, Manhattan, New York. And down here, she's making like $45,000, $50,000. So she had to take a massive pay cut, but it was fine because the cost of living was so much lower back then. But now the cost of living is on the rise. So
Yeah.
a lot of these people, they can't afford to actually live here anymore, especially like we said before about the interest rates and the mortgage rates right now. People can't afford to actually live here and buy homes. So they have to leave.
Yeah. So you've already talked about prices being down 9 months in a row. It sounds like they're down what, 5, 6, 7% from the peak. Is that where we're kind of at now?
Yeah, that's actually spot on. Yeah, yeah.
So, and again, the other thing that's very obvious, I don't think Florida felt this last year, but you're gonna feel it this year, given what you said, is the slow season, right? The slow season, at least
Uh,
in a lot of markets, start in October, right? We're basically in August, so it's like right around the corner.
Well, so Florida's a little bit different. Let me sorry.
Awesome.
So
Okay,
Florida
I like it.
it's okay. All right. So Florida's not even different. So we have basically in season and off season. So off
Okay,
season for Florida is actually the summer because
interesting.
it gets so hot here. Literally, it can get to 100 degrees with like 100% humidity. So it's a little bit different than
Miserable.
the Texas area or yeah, where it's dry. It's not
Yeah.
dry. It's very very humid. So it makes that heat feel even worse. You step
Mhm.
outside and you're drenched in sweat. So yeah, in Florida, I would say probably from
Okay,
I would call it like November, October up until March or so. That's in season. So that's when all
interesting.
the
Okay.
snowbirds have you heard of
Yeah,
that
yeah,
term
yeah.
snowbirds?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, yeah. So the snowbirds, they run away from Florida during the summer months. They go back up
Right.
north so they can be a little bit cooler because it's not as
Oh,
hot
yeah.
up north in the
Yeah.
summertime. But in the winter time down here, which is like November, October, December,
Yeah.
it's the perfect temperature. It's perfect. It's
Okay.
absolutely paradise down here. So we have like a little reverse
I like it.
where our in season is like November, October, December. That's like in
Okay.
season for us.
So I guess it'll be interesting. So really what you're seeing now is you're in your slow season, right? June, July, August. So
Yeah,
it's
technically, yes.
probably not abnormal that inventory's building. Typically speaking, in housing, you have a good season and a bad. In the bad season, prices come in. Um, so I guess it'll be very interesting what happens starting in October, right? Does it turn around and buyers come out of the woodwork? Maybe rates are slightly lower. Maybe migration continues. I guess it will be interesting, but I mean, you're in the market every day. You're doing hundreds of transactions a year. Do you think? I mean, do you think prices are up or down from here by January 1st? Do you think they continue going down? Do you think they flatten? Do you think they're up? What is your wild ass guess?
So yeah, nobody has a crystal ball, but the way the trends are going now, do you mean for Florida or do you mean like the whole country
Your
as a whole?
your market, your backyard.
Okay, so for Florida, like I said, it's a little bit different. So I'm honestly gonna say that it keeps going down. I don't think going into season in Florida, I don't think it's gonna matter that much.
Okay.
Just because of everything that's happening with the insurance rates, also too, I didn't mention this, the HOAs. Are you familiar with
Oh
HOAs,
yeah.
homeowner associations? Okay, so in Florida, we have a lot of them. They absolutely suck. They're the worst. They're terrible. I hate HOAs, hate dealing with them. It's something needs to be done with them, but that's for another topic. But yeah, so the HOAs are also going up in price right now too. Some of these HOAs have literally doubled in price. So you know how an HOA works. You can charge a monthly fee to the homeowner, maybe around, let's say on average, I think it's around $350, $400, a monthly HOA fee. Now, some of them are going up to like $700, $800, which is also driving people out. Now, one of the reasons why, I don't know if you heard of this before, but a building in Miami collapsed. Do you remember hearing that about
Oh
6 months
yeah. Of
ago?
course. Of course. Yeah.
That was a big reason why the HOAs now are going up in price, and also because of the
Yeah.
insurance as well,
They have to
because of something
retrofit their
similar to that
buildings.
situation.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So somebody has to pay these costs. The HOAs aren't going to pay them. The state's not going to pay it. So somebody has to pay those costs, and it's being passed on to the homeowners right now. So that's another contributing factor, which is actually raising the rates in Florida, so people can't afford it anymore. So I do think your original question, I think the prices are going to keep going down. Now, this also, are we going to go into a recession? So that also plays a major factor as well. Now, I'm no economist. I don't know if we're going to have a soft landing or not. I don't know exactly what's going to happen. But if we do go into a recession, I think it's going to hurt even more. Now, if we don't, then it might be a little bit, more manageable. But no, I still think, I do think by this time, January, I think prices will probably, that's about 6 months from now, prices will probably be down, I would say another 3%,
Yeah.
4% or so, if I had to guess.
Yeah. It's pure guess. It's pure speculation. I think that would put Florida down roughly 10% from the peak, rough and tough.
That that's what I'm thinking. That's what I was thinking in my head, like around 10% from June of 2022. Now I think it's going to go even lower. I truly think, because listen, as you said before, this bubble has to burst. It cannot go on forever. People cannot afford this, especially the locals that did not move from New York, or Massachusetts, from Boston, and don't have these cushy jobs where they might be working remotely, still getting paid from their bosses back, the corporations back in Northeast. If they don't have jobs like that down here, what on earth are they going to do? They're still getting paid the old wages. So the people that migrated here maybe have a little bit better chance, but the locals, I hear it every single day. They complain to me. They're like, Andy, we can't afford these prices anymore. We can't afford the gas. We can't afford the milk, the eggs. Like, we can't afford anything anymore. The cost of like water's going up. If you go to Costco and buy a everything is going up right now, and the locals cannot afford it. So no, I think within, I want to say, a year to 2 years from now, I think the market's going to be substantially lower. I think it's going to be maybe 15-20% lower than the previous high. Now that's just my guess though. So I don't, call me crazy. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I don't know. I think there are some markets. I mean, I think when I look at Florida today, I compare it to Austin, Texas. I don't know if you've seen Austin, Texas numbers, but it's of the top 40 markets, it's down the most. I think it's down 11-12% from the peak around the same period. I think for a lot of the same reasons. I think there's still some more pain to give. I think anytime you kind of turn on migration that you weren't ready for, and let's be clear, nobody's ready for 950 people a day. You're just not. I mean, that just floods the market with demand. There's some give back. And I think Austin is a lead candidate. So it's not shocking to me that it actually gives me confidence in our discussion that you think it's going to go down 10%. I think that's a layup. I just do, because I think it got stretched. Anytime inventory's rock bottom and there's demand and rates are 3%, you're going to have stupid behavior, overpaying. So I think that makes sense. I think it's a very good guess, and it's just that, it's a guess.
But it created the perfect storm, down here. It created the perfect storm, and that cannot last forever. So that's what I'm thinking. And me personally, I'm saving my money, and I'm getting ready for this because I want to go and scoop up a whole bunch of properties, in a year from now. Once I see that the market's like ready to go, obviously, you should be dollar cost averaging when you're doing any kind of investing whatsoever, even with real estate. But I still think, not that I'm trying to time the market, but I still think in 1 to 2 years, it's going to be an amazing buying opportunity.
There you go. Well, if somebody wanted to buy or sell in the South Florida, Andy, how would they reach out to you? How do you find your YouTube channel and contact you?
Yeah, so my YouTube is just Andy Coleman. Somehow I got that handle. So yeah, look me up, Andy Coleman. I'm on Instagram. It's at the Andy Coleman. You could always email me. It's andy.coleman1186@gmail.com. I don't think I should give my phone number, but yeah, reach out to me, any way you would like. If you want to buy or sell or rent in Florida, whatever you want to do, please do reach out to me.
Awesome, Andy. Thank you so much. In episode number 2, folks, we're going to talk about how this guy became the second ranked agent at EXP. You won't want to miss it. Thanks, buddy.